And good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
Good morning, the Rise Up Morning Show.
This is the Rise Up Morning Show, your place for helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions. I'm Evan. He's Alex. He's Will. This is something. I don't know. It's not your dad's hedge fund.
It's a pretend radio show.
It's
a pretend radio. That's my favorite description of it.
Don't come for me.
Someone in the comment section was like, "Yeah, we'll have fun living your life as like the host of a pretend radio show," and we were all like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, that's right.
I like that. Yeah,
a talk show, if you can believe it, where we do our best to speak to people at all levels of experience, whether you're skeptical about crypto, whether you're investing in crypto, your bag is packed, or you're just thinking about buying crypto, building in crypto, or engaging with it for the first time. We want to help you become a safer, more confident user. So let me let you know that first, these are our only profiles. If you are watching the show on Facebook, if you're watching the show on LinkedIn or YouTube, TikTok, anywhere else, there are impersonators of us on the internet who want to leverage the trust we've built to take your money. We will never, ever DM you first. We will never reach out to you personally to offer you help, advice, or try and sell you anything, but scammers will. So be vigilant, be aware. Follow us here. These are our only official profiles. And then jump in the free Rise Up Discord server. It is a place for learners at all levels of experience to gather 24/7 and ask us a question, even when the show is not live. But the show is live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central, we go live for After Dark. This week, we've got Bitcoin advocate Dennis Porter to tell us about the future after the executive order, what it looks like for Bitcoin. We're so excited about it. And the only thing missing in this community, my friends, is you. So guys, we had a big weekend. Markets are down in crypto, and we're anticipating that the broader markets are going to be down, possibly for a variety of reasons. China is competing with us on AI. Turns out we're not so great. And people are generally speaking, feeling a little bit of fear, maybe an uncertainty after the executive order. No more North Star. But what do you guys think? How are you feeling? And you too, yes, you. Let us know in the comments how you're feeling below. Alex, Will, are you panicking?
So no, I'm not panicking. But I do just quickly want to highlight one personal story where you were like, "We will never DM you." And since TikTok and also Instagram both added like the story ability where you can like have a quick little message on where your icon pops up that's like maybe 6 sentences long. I will never DM you. I just have that on my TikTok and Instagram. And one of my friends in real life has been, we found out, following only my crypto Instagram and didn't know about my personal Instagram.
Oh, no.
And so it's like, "I will never DM you first." And he was like, "Dude, fuck you." He like sent me a message. I was like, "Oh no, dude, this is my crypto account." He's like, "You're a crypto influencer?" And I was like, "You've been following this page and you haven't seen it. You don't pay attention to anything I say, do you?" But that was just funny. He was like, "Oh, I've been following the wrong one. I was wondering why you didn't have any pictures of your girlfriend." I was like, "Yeah."
It's like that barbershop where you walked in and found out your guy was a holder, and then you had
he was a Cardano maxi and actually made like several tens of thousands of dollars off SNEC.
Did you guys know that Cardano has the same market cap as Marriott Hotels and Ford Motor Company? And what have they got to show for it? Honestly, I was talking about that over the weekend in a video. I was like, damn, man, that's rough. Fact check yourself, brother.
But I'm sorry to run over you, but I was about to say, but the markets are panicking if you want me to address that one.
I do want you to address that one. And then I would like to tell people about the innovation that is DeepSeek AI before our guest gets here and we get into some of the question and answer.
So to put things into perspective, Bitcoin obviously was down this morning as we all woke up. To put things into more perspective, the NASDAQ 100 futures are down 5% in pre-market right now, which is a lot.
It is a lot.
Also, NVIDIA on Friday lost $150 billion from its market cap because of the Chinese DeepSeek, right? And there was some other information as well about pre-market just being down a lot at this moment. So it does look like the stock market's going to close the gaps that have been on the chart, which is what we've been calling for. But we were hoping Bitcoin and the stock market was going to lead so Bitcoin could come down and just hit 97,000, but we're already at 97,000. So it looks like 92,000 is the next drop. To me, I'm not panicking because this is the final shakeout for altcoins that I started talking about a few days ago. Final shakeout for altcoins, final shakeout for Bitcoin. Too many positive things have happened for crypto coming out of the White House last week for this to be the end of the bull run. So no, I'm not panicking. This is a really good buy opportunity for people. This is why we dollar cost average. This is why we keep a little bit of stable coins on the side, and higher highs will come.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. The macro picture is super bullish. We finally got a really clear executive order that protects the right to self-custody, among other things. I don't think people are making a big enough deal about that.
Tab 121
is gone, baby. I think that's
baby.
Great. Hester Peirce our friend Hester, congratulations, Commissioner Peirce, has been appointed sort of the taskmaster and official cleaner-upper to lead policy for the SEC going forward as they continue to rebuild.
We're getting some friends in some high places.
I am so excited. I have not emailed her yet just because I want to like time it perfectly, but I'm going to go ahead and email Bill and be like, hey man, I know there's not going to be a good time for this, but first of all, way to go. Things are shaping up great. And we got to get back on the show, hopefully live and in person when we're in Washington, D.C. Right, Alex?
Also, Bill, do you want to hang out?
Also, Bill, do you want to hang out? There may or may not be a guy named Bill who may or may not be Hester Peirce's aide, and quite possibly the most lethal and kind-hearted man in Washington, D.C. Can't confirm. One of the more disruptive pieces of news that came out over the weekend was this DeepSeek AI. And I just wanted to give people a really quick overview on this because there have been a lot of news pieces coming out. It's been a little bit overwhelming, but this is a competitor to GPT, to Claude, to Sonnet, to all the large language models that we have been using for the past couple of years that we thought were really disruptive. Well, DeepSeek is founded from, it's a Chinese AI startup. And the origins are really mysterious. There was this like this hedge fund, this quant hedge fund called High Flyer that apparently had a side project of launching an LLM. And get a look at these resources, okay? So they didn't have access to NVIDIA's like top tier AI standard chips. They're using second rate chips because of, tariffs and embargoes and stuff like that. They trained this thing on 2.7 million GPU hours because they kind of leapfrogged, built a code base on top of what GPU used, and they spent just $5.6 million to develop this thing. For comparison,
that's the thing that made me just take this whole news story and just throw it immediately out, where I was like, wait, how much money is invested in it? Like, and everyone's just like freaking out because everyone loves to run with the story of America is weakening. Love to run with it because it gets clicks and headlines. Oh, BRICS is super strong, blah, 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 blah. Oh, China's hypersonic missiles would absolutely destroy the U.S. Navy, blah, 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 blah. Oh, DeepSeek AI, blah, blah, blah. It's the death of NVIDIA and AI's dominance in the United States. I'm just like, you're telling me that a Chinese organization with $5 to $10 million of funding is out developing the billions and billions and billions and billions, and I could be here for a few minutes, billions and billions of dollars that are going into the US AI industry and have been for quite some time now. It's not, wait, we're doing points. We're doing points right now.
Well, I'm just dinging you for a point because I'm going to say that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You predicted the future.
Yeah, I saw that and I just went, follow the money. This is horseshit.
I thought so too at first. But for people who don't have any context, OpenAI spends about $5 billion a year. So we're talking about 1,000 times more. And they're still an unprofitable company. Microsoft bought them for $13 billion. So of course the question is like, how good is this thing? Well, by all reports, it's actually quite good. It's outperformed GPT, it's outperformed Claude, it's outperformed Bard in math, coding tests, reasoning, and writing, ranking as the top performer across nearly all one-to-one head-to-head competitions. Its technical capabilities and usability are specifically praised. It's at the top of Apple's App Store right now, where you can download it if you want to try it.
Really?
And has surpassed GPT in user ratings. So rightfully, it has caused people to question the moat that we thought we had at the frontier of AI. The success of DeepSeek has now caused a lot of VCs and researchers to look to India and China to see what else we might have been overlooking, and has caused a couple of big ripples in the US economy, particularly in the tech sector. Like Will said, global AI stocks, including NVIDIA, have seen some big time declines as investors reevaluate the landscape. And I'll say one more time, if you want to try DeepSeek firsthand, their website is chat.deepseek.com. You can sign up for free. You can log in to their website on the whatever browser, or get their app at the App Store and check it out. I haven't been able to get it up on my computer yet. Just
Wait.
lots of stuff to do, but
Question for you though. So you said OpenAI is the top app right now, and OpenAI is what's beating ChatGPT and these others, correct?
well, it just depends on the no. OpenAI developed ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's what I
DeepSeek.
thought, which is why I thought you said OpenAI was beating those things, and so I was confused.
I may have said that. If I did, I misspoke. DeepSeek
Okay.
is beating GPT, Claude in one-to-one competitions of coding.
Okay, that makes
reasoning,
more
math,
sense. 'Cause I was
writing.
just like,
Yeah, pardon me
Okay.
if I misspoke. Yeah, it's a talk show. You got to watch out.
Mhm.
So what do you guys think about that? You say you express some incredibility, but I mean, if that is the case, that's kind of a game changer, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, if it's beating some of our stuff, then yeah, markets are emotional too. So, I mean, who would describe this way? I forget who it was. I'm sure a number of people have had, but the financial markets are not the reading of price and values of certain markets. They are a representation of human emotions who own certain things, and that can be very, very true. If you own American stocks and American AI companies because you think America's the best, and all of a sudden there's an emotional sentiment going through, maybe we're not the best. Yeah, a little bit of a sell-off. Yeah, that's enough to do it.
Yeah, it's an emotional thing. Open source, somebody asked, can we talk about it? Yes. DeepSeek is an open source model, which means that the code base is public. They're giving it away. They're not protecting it as proprietary information. And some of the most powerful, in terms of widely adopted, widely used pieces of software in the world are open source, because open source software can be shared freely. It's a lot easier to proliferate. What's the I'm just blanking. Is it Linux is the most popular OS, and it's open source?
Linux
That's
is the
right.
most popular.
And there are a lot of theories right now about, the future of intellectual property. Will it be open source? Will it be closed source? I tend to fall in the open source camp. I think open source has more legs because people are shared to encourage it to compete.
There'll
with
be a
products
future
that are
for
closed
both.
source. Yeah, I tend to.
Yeah,
agree with that
it'll
too.
obviously it'll totally be a both in a hybrid kind of scenario. It's also just like if you're in the world of data storage too. There's so much movement is towards the cloud, but there's always going to be same things that you keep on-prem and things that you keep in the cloud. This is true for like, I'm getting a little philosophical, but this is true for like any ism.
Yeah.
This is true for any like economic policy ideas, political ideas. There's no like one ist or ism kind of thing that's totally 100% correct. It's just like, taking bits and pieces for basic certain situations and certain problems, right? So it's like there is always going to be a hybrid approach. That's true in the crypto space too. Like proof of stake's better than proof of work. I'm like, well, like some things are better, some things are worse.
Sure.
I just want to rewrite one of the headlines about like the market bloodbath, if it's related to that, and just be like, capitalists currently freaking the fuck out because competition.
Oh no, our competition. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, the thing that
no.
continues to drive us to actually meet better ends and goals.
Yeah. Oh no, this giant company that has the most ridiculous valuation ever is going to be forced to actually do something. It's like, why? I don't understand. Someone needs to explain to me why this is like such an upset. Like, I get that.
No, it's a good thing.
I get that all of us, like when you're over leveraged and gambling on, all of these speculative markets, whether that's stocks or whatever, it's just like the second anything happens that you think is going to make someone else sell, makes you sell, and then everyone is someone else to someone else.
Yes.
Ipso facto Latin, market crashes for no fucking reason.
Henceforth, therefore, round table, panic selling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we are all about this free market. We love Whoa, not you, Mexico, not you, China. You know what I mean?
Hey.
Like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back
Did
off.
we say open market free competition? I meant monopoly. Get out of my sandbox.
Yeah, baby, American Empire.
well, and it's interesting because a lot of American companies are so big, and it raises a lot of questions. If you're Microsoft and you've got a million trillion people who are the VP of whatever, like how necessary is that person's job in a world where a handful I saw the tweets about this, and they were like 5 Chinese guys in a room with some potato chips smoking cigarettes built the best AI model in the world. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, it probably wasn't that simple, but also like, yeah, it was probably pretty lean.
But the thing is with AI models, everyone's working with the same foundation. And the foundation for the quality of AI models is continuously on the rise. The reason why I say that is because of open source, the open source community. The best AI models in the world are available for free. And also there are a bunch of these devices, this is getting into the weeds, but there are these solutions called automated machine learning solutions. It's called AutoML. There's a whole industry for it. I worked in it for a year and a half. And basically you can be if you're working in the data science world, you have like a data scientist, right, at the top, and it's someone at the very top is someone called a Kaggle Grandmaster. I know it sounds silly. And then below,
Kaggle
I know
Grandmaster,
it is
like
no, it is, yeah, it is. It's literally that. It's a Kaggle Grandmaster. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to make it silly or anything, but it's Kaggle Grandmaster, data scientist. Then you have like a data analyst, right? And there's a big gap between data scientists and data analysts. And you just have like some people who like are financial analysts and stuff like that, right? So, but the thing is these automated machine learning solutions you can give to someone who's like an advanced data analyst, and they can churn out a model that is just as good. It's like somewhere between, all right, I'm going to say the silly word again. It's somewhere between a data scientist and a Kaggle. It's Kaggle, not Kaggle. Kaggle. It is Kaggle. I'm like,
well, potato,
Kaggle,
tomato.
Yeah, the Kaggle Grandmaster, right? And so it's a way for to really accelerate the ground floor of how high quality these AI models can be. So it's not too crazy to really think that like, hey, 5 Chinese guys in a room were smoking cigarettes who all had data science degrees actually made better models off of what was released a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's not too hard to do that so long as you have the data to do it, as well as some Kaggle Grandmaster-esque data scientists.
The comments are going wild. I am going to give a ding
KGM?
to higher floors of knowledge and Kaggle Grandmasters.
Exercises.
Exactly, right? And I'm going to give a gwump to all of us for collectively having the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy. So if you've got
I let us right
questions,
into that by saying Kaggle instead of
no,
Kaggle.
you were being responsible and trying to teach us something, and we just absolutely can't be trusted.
I should just learn to never teach people.
Alex, you're lucky you missed that whole
TikTok.
segment because it would have been a dad moment for you. So
Sorry.
if you've got a crypto question, if you've got something that we can help you with, let us know. We're happy to answer it and try and keep it mature. What do you guys think about the philosophy of techno-feudalism? Are you familiar at all with it?
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
do love going to EDM festivals dressed as a medieval knight. So I'm a big fan of techno-feudalism.
This is a gross misrepresentation.
Otherwise, if they were talking about something else, I don't know what it is.
Okay,
I
so
love Renfair. I love
techno-feudalism, I wish Gio Husar was here, is a socioeconomic system where technology platforms and digital infrastructure, they concentrate power and wealth in the hands of just a few dominant people, governments, institutions, often at the expense of democracy or economic equality everywhere else. You might argue that in a future where OpenAI is proprietary tech, and Sam Altman and his buddies have access to it, and America has access to it first, and billionaires have access to it first. Have you heard his theory that compute will be the new oil, and the people who have it will be, advanced, and the people who don't will go back to the dark ages?
They're the lords and barons, and then we're all the serfs because we use. Oh, I just got a message from Gio Husar. He said, "Okay, cool." So he might be popping into the TikTok soon.
Great, and the argument is that's not the future; it's happening right now. And I would tend to agree that that's maybe a concern. The concern of equity in our world today is more about access to information capital, access to technological capital than it necessarily is access to money. But I think, like you always say, Will, money's the thing that ultimately
money's the driver.
That's what makes the world go round right now. So I don't know. I think it's a concern. I think
it's definitely a concern. There's always a push towards the centralization of power of those who have it, to have more and have more influence. That's a natural human desire and push that happens. And, another thing too is human society always swings like a pendulum, and it's never in the middle where you want it because we're very emotional, and that's just not how things do. And economic policy and thoughts and feelings and culture, don't turn on a dime. So, you have swings towards, hey, democracy, and hey, autocracy, and hey, something in the middle, and, extreme capitalism, and then capitalism with guardrails, and, so on and so forth. And that's just human society.
It's like that about everything.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Literally
every,
everything.
every crypto narrative trend is the same thing. It's like, oh wait,
Sure.
one cool AI agent came out. Let's make 17 million shitty ones, and then flood the market with them.
Money,
and
money,
then
money,
rinse
money,
and
money.
repeat, rinse and repeat. Yes.
Well, and the novel ones or the first movers, they, you know, they flow to the top, and then you get the imitates and the duplicates, and they're usually, because they're not novel, as successful.
It's
The
the, it's
imitates
it's the
and the
natural cycle
duplicates.
of anything in, you know, if you put it in crypto terms, right? Like something cool comes out that happens that did a cool thing. 19 billion things copy it to try to, you know, recapture the initial hype of whatever did the move first. And then after everyone's been washed out and we've called the whole niche a scam, then the good one comes out and no one cares by then. And we've moved on to something else. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yep. Ding.
Hey, Will, Sean asked us, he said, ask Will to say the word TURN, like, hey, it's your turn to speak. How do you say that word, Will?
I don't like where this is going. Turn.
I think that was great.
Of
Turn.
all the words that Will says funny that you could have pointed out, that's not the one that.
It's my turn.
Now
This
he's
is
gonna
the
have a
time for
complex all
you
day.
to turn the car around.
Well, he already knows
The only-
that
the words-
he pronounces them as if the E is a U.
Them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
them
yeah, yeah.
is
That's the
them. There's another word. There's another word I
every.
say
You say
that has
every as if it starts with an I.
That's right.
Every.
That's right.
yeah
I love that one.
every.
You say every
Yeah,
like a
every
rich
time.
aristocrat from Britain.
every time.
Every time.
Guys, I'm
Let's
just a
take
waspy
bite.
boy from Maine, okay? I'm just a waspy boy from Maine in a very comfortable upper middle class family, okay? I say certain things certain ways. We had a boat, okay? I have a rich laugh.
He does have a rich laugh. If you could tell how much money somebody had by their laugh, I would bet that Will had $1 billion trillion. Honestly, truly.
and then I'm here wearing ski gear,
no.
which is a New England flex. That means you're from southern Maine.
You know, somebody made an interesting observation in our Discord, just talking about, you know, flexes and money and where we are in the cycle. Somebody made an interesting observation saying something like, could this be the bottom? And I said to them, well, it could be, but boy, I think it's probably closer to the top.
Yeah, if you like zoom out.
If you like
Yeah.
zoom out, you know. So if you're
Take a step back, bro, and you look at the whole picture.
take a step back, look at the whole picture, and that's a good time to say again, if you are trying to learn this stuff, you're trying to get caught up on markets, you're trying to get caught up on crypto, you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, we're here Monday through Thursday to help answer your questions, bring you down to reality, have a lot of fun doing it, and you should jump in the Discord. It's totally free at discord.gg/riseup. The only thing missing is you.
I love
What's
this
so funny?
comment from Rebecca. I was practicing my rich girl laugh until this morning. Oof.
Oof. Have you guys spoke on the topic of Trump's immigration and tariffs will kill this alt season? We haven't spoken on it, but what do you
Definitely won't
guys think
kill
about it?
But it is a negative for the economy. Here's the thing. With Trump's policies, and I won't talk about this politically, but with Trump's policies, you have some things that are very, very, very friendly to Wall Street. Like you can look at his Davos speech. We're going to invest a ton into AI. S&P 500 is largely held up by tech stocks right now. Everything else is pretty much in a recession if you look at the other sectors. Also, like, hey, we should hit his comments about bringing down the price of oil through pressuring on Saudi Arabia to actually have an impact on Russia. Actually, that's a really, really smart move if you really want to bring Russia to the negotiation table. That's a really cool thing. That could alleviate the whole the Ukraine war. That would alleviate grain supply to the rest of the world. That'd be great from a Wall Street standpoint as well for inflation. That'd be good. But then you look at his economic policies. All at the same time, tax cuts for corporations, deportations, and tariffs are all inflationary. Inflation's our biggest problem right now. So if you actually do all three of those things at the same, wow, I haven't done a three like that in a while. I would usually do threes like this. Anyway,
I do three like this.
Yeah. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, those inflation going up would be very bad for the economy. But as we learned from COVID, all right, we're gonna go back 4 years in time. Remember how the economy globally was just turned off, and yet stock market was making new all-time high. Bitcoin went on a crazy run. what happens in Wall Street, and I'm including Bitcoin in that now too, which probably a lot of people don't like, but what happens on Wall Street is not necessarily a reflection of the economy, so long as things that Wall Street likes are happening. In this Wall Street side of things, you have really great things happening for Bitcoin, like really astounding things happening for Bitcoin. That just got announced last week. Digital asset stockpile, right? This goes against the idea that altcoin season isn't going to happen, because we're not talking about a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're talking about a digital asset stockpile, which includes Ethereum potentially in that list, maybe Aave, maybe Chainlink, maybe other things that World Liberty Financial holds, right?
Yeah, maybe everything that's in his
maybe
bags.
everything that's in his bags. Right? So again, something really good for that Wall Street will like. And also, you're not going to see the impact of any of Trump's economic policies, except for tariffs, really impact the US economy for about 1.5 to 2 years. I mean, even tariffs, you're not going to see their impact on prices for about 1.5 to 2 years for two things. The first of which is that companies saw Trump win and said, hey, we're going to increase our inventory. I'm sorry, I'm talking for so long, guys. I know we're trying to do hot potato, but you know,
go for it.
we companies who I work with bought an entire year's worth of supply of inventory in the span of about 4 months. So their warehouses are jam-packed with stuff right now that did not have a tariff slammed on it whatsoever. So tariffs come through, you're not going to see that pushed onto the price of most things for about 1 year at most. The other thing too is I'm talking with companies. And for those of you who don't know, I'm basically a consultant for some of the largest supply chain organizations in the world. A lot of them are doing is like, hey, if Trump does this really big tariff on China, what we'll do is we'll just have these Chinese companies move goods from the Chinese warehouses to warehouses in Vietnam, and then we buy, air quotes, from Vietnam, and we avoid those tariffs. So, hey, congratulations, tariffs aren't bringing jobs to the American economy. Go figure. Everybody knew that for the most part, if you are paying attention to economics, or you've studied them a little bit. If not, on paper, that's what it seems like it's going to do.
So that's basically like an economic shuffle step.
Yeah, it's an economic shuffle step. There will be increased costs because shipping costs have increased, but it'll be less than what the tariffs would have been. So a lot of that's going to get avoided for large companies. Small companies, though, aren't going to be able to do that, FYI. So I say all this back to the question of tariffs will kill the altcoin season. Tariffs and I think you said taxation. The answer to that is no, because the negative side of tariffs and all these other things won't be felt for at least 1.5 years. For now, we are still in, some of you are going to hate this, but we're still in the Biden economy for about another year, 1.5 or so, and some really good things from Trump. He's promising to Wall Street that's a really, really good thing. I think 2025, you're free and clear to run for a while. After that, I don't know. I don't know.
I want to highlight this comment from Wally, who said tariffs are part of the art of the deal. And I am I'm reminded of the techno-feudalism comment, like who was in the front row at the inauguration, who's on Wall Street, who's Trump making deals with, and who has the power to play the game right now. Those are probably the people who stand to benefit the most from those deals when they go through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And another thing too is if you guys are paying attention, were you guys privy to what was going on with Colombia yesterday?
Yes.
Tell me more about it, because all I saw was that there's some conflict, and the president wrote this
Fico,
moving,
Prime Minister.
passionate letter that I loved to President Trump. We're trying to bully him into giving us the Panama Canal. Is it right?
Well, that's in Panama. We're talking about Colombia.
But they're right next door, right?
They're close. Yeah. Are they next door?
The two.
They're
But
close.
that has nothing to do with what
Got
happened.
Got it.
yesterday.
Sorry. Tell me what it is.
So Colombia said that they will not be accepting a plane of deportees from the United States back to Colombia. And so Trump said, cool, I'm going to hit you with 25% tariffs. And if a week, it goes up to 50%. And then the president or prime minister, his last name is Pico, from Colombia. And by the way, Colombia is a very strong U.S. ally. He's like, cool, we're slapping on 50% tariffs. And this all happened in the span of about 2 hours. And then by hour 3, they're like, never mind, we have a deal and there aren't going to be any tariffs at all. And Colombia will accept the deportees. So they got on a phone call. So tariffs are definitely Trump's favorite out the gate move for creating negotiations to get a deal for things that he wants. When you are the empire, if you want to be way more brash and abrasive in treatment with your allies and your enemies alike, you do have the ability to just place a little bit of your weight on someone to create what's the word? Not a negative situation, but like a bit of a pressure cooker environment, if you will, to create stress and pressure and a bit of a problem that you can then solve yourself. So it's like, you have a problem here. Okay, cool. Well, luckily I fixed it for you.
Yeah.
There's
And
also
then you
just
can, creates a moment for negotiation in business.
tariffs have been used as a negotiation tactic for a very long time. That's
Forever.
typically what they are used for. But
Yeah.
there's like the reason that it causes more uncertainty now is just because there historically have been very targeted tariffs for very specific reasons to accomplish a very specific goal. The Colombia one is one of those way more specific than like a blanket tariff on all of China, for example. Just because if you think about like, what was the first thing that everyone thought of and talked about when this news cycle started was your coffee is going to get more expensive. Guess how many freaking places there are in the world that you can import coffee from?
Mhm.
Colombia is not special in that sense that like, oh shit, no one's going to be able to get coffee anywhere for forever if
You
Colombia
won't be able to get
is-
that Colombian blend though.
Right, sure, but they grow Colombian blends all over the place. Like it's just a bumper sticker. So in
If you
that
want some
sense,
coffee,
makes
sorry, go ahead.
makes it very different. And something that I would defer to Hussar on more would be like the Canadian tariff is slightly different because one thing that people may not know is there's lots of different kinds of oil, and not every type of oil does the exact same thing. That's a different kind of thing. So I think right now we're just sort of like looking at all tariffs on everything everywhere as this sort of homogenous thing that is just going to make stuff more expensive. And yes, that is the whole point. That is literally what they do. But they are all very different and need to be looked at individually. However, as Will said, since all of us who invest in anything are the most emotional creatures on the planet, you can't even whisper anything that could influence speculation without surging or dumping whatever market is applicable.
Mhm.
So that's
Oh
why,
my
like, when
gosh.
we're in moments like this, I literally just,
Yep.
I'm good.
Bye.
What am I holding? Bitcoin and ETH?
Mhm. Yeah. I saw two comments I want to address. One was a real comment, and one was a funny. The one comment was, "Hey guys, like you shouldn't stick to don't talk about politics. Like stick to crypto is essentially it." But we're actually not talking about politics right now. We're talking about economic policy. Economic policy.
Few comments piss me off more than
Yeah,
that
right.
one. Just for the record.
I know, right? Economic policies, as pushed through political agendas, affect the global market. Altcoins and Bitcoin and crypto and stocks are in the global market. You cannot talk about and paint a full picture of where you think the market's going to go and understand how the market's going to be effective. And you're not going to be as effective of a trader and investor if you do not understand the economic and global impact of policy change. You can't.
Yeah.
It's not. You're missing a gap of critical information that you need to be profitable and put yourself, your family, your children, your loved ones in the best position possible.
Will just gave you a very polite answer. The reason you keep getting fucking hosed is because you have no clue what's happening elsewhere in the world. And if you don't pay attention to other things happening, you'll never have any semblance of foundation to figure out why XYZ happens.
I will absolutely die on this.
So if you would like to do better at investing, you have to pay attention to all of the things that influence your investments. And I hate to break it to you, American politics is one of the biggest influences on your investments. That's just the way that it works. It has nothing to do with which side of the aisle you're on or not. If we were sitting here debating about the ethics of X, Y, and Z policy, sure, maybe if you don't want to listen to political banter, then that would not be it for you. But if you're specifically talking about the impacts of economic policies and ramblings of politicians like the president, for example, of the biggest economy ever, I mean, it would,
Might be important.
like, hey, if you're popping into chats and you're like, hey, what do I buy? Where do I buy it? When do I buy it? When do I sell it? Whatever, like, you can figure all that out if you pay attention to the big picture.
Also-
Gotta look at the whole thing.
if you're popping into chats and you're asking, what should I buy? Where should I buy it?
Why is this guy yelling at me?
You're probably going to lose money. I hate to tell you, but you're
Yeah.
probably going to lose money that way. And also,
Mm-hmm.
our guest later today is going to be Gio Husar. We want to set you up to be able to enter a conversation about global politics, macroeconomics with somebody who brings a lot of expertise to the table and can make it simple for you. The same way we try to simplify crypto and simplify financial literacy, we want you to be a well-rounded person who can see this from multiple perspectives. And if that doesn't interest you, that's totally okay. We're here Monday through Thursday. We have a lot of different shows. We are not going to take it personally if you don't want to watch our show today. We would love to have you here, especially if you're here for the first time. But don't hesitate. Your time and your attention are your most valuable assets. And if you don't feel you're getting a return here, then you're certainly welcome to take them elsewhere. We love your feedback. If you don't like this stuff, let us know. I do have a good question that is more
really quick.
crypto-centric. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just seeing all the love and appreciation for
Gio.
Husar, and then
Oh, our friend.
watching
Yeah.
Will. I wish that you guys would have said something to me earlier, because we talk all the time. And
No,
he
but
and I
this is
have
more
been
special
friends.
to me because I commented on his video and he was like, "Hey, dude, I'd love to do a live with you some point." And I was like, "I've loved your channel for so long."
You just should have said something. I would have texted him ages ago.
No, this is way more special.
Yeah, I remember when he was Crypto Husar going
Yeah.
live with him.
That's
I
why
don't know. We
became
had
friends.
he had like 20,000 followers. I think he was
We started
lagging.
at the same time. We became friends right at the
Yeah.
beginnings of our channels, and it's been 4 years now.
Well, I remember a particularly poignant conversation I had with him. I was at the Memphis Public Library. I was using their Wi-Fi, and I got on a live with him, and he was feeling kind of down because his content wasn't growing. He felt like maybe he wasn't helping people, and I was like, brother, you're great. You're a wonderful teacher. You're a great educator. You absolutely, if you keep doing this, you're going to be fine. And I don't know. I think I had like 30,000 followers at the time. I think he had like 20,000 or something like that. And he was feeling really down about, maybe I wasn't helping people, he thought. And look at him now.
Yeah, look
He's
at him now.
he's
Killing it.
really using his platform, I think, for good.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's one of the best educational economic sources here on TikTok.
Can I say a crypto thing though? Because I did see a comment that I do want to address that is a
Go for it.
very common question. I'd love to get your feedback on it. Somebody was asking about trading bots. You may see.
Oh wait, guys, sorry. Sakoba says to stop talking. Guys, thanks so much for tuning into the show today. It was really great having all of you here. Unfortunately, we have
Stop.
to shut it down.
Oh guys, damn. Sokoba won. Go look at Toshi. Stop talking. Go look at
Rip.
Toshi.
So hey, if
Yeah,
you're
well-
interested in trading crypto tokens and you're hearing about these trading bots, especially if somebody is like reaching out to you to tell you about their group, to tell you, wow, Will took that personally.
Will took it literally. Will, I was kidding. It was a joke.
Oh, sorry. I'm coming back. Hang on. I just.
It's
wanted to
okay.
go
You're
in
still
for
the voice.
feedback.
You're
Yeah.
still the voice of God in our
I'm coming,
TikTok
I'm
here.
coming back. The voice of God.
Listen, if you are somebody who's trying to learn about crypto on social media, you need to be super aware of a couple of common scams. Okay. The best news about scams in crypto is that they are 100% avoidable. And one of the most common scams we see is a type of scam called pig butchering. And a common way that it is presented, pig butchering is aptly named for the practice of scammers doing something to entice you, to fatten you up, and then slaughter you. And one of these scams, Alex, I know you've seen them before, is we've got an AI, we've got a trading bot, we've got a bunch of professional traders. You send us some money, we'll make it grow for you. You send us 1 XRP, we'll turn it into 10. And they will have an app, they'll have a website, it's got testimonials, it looks very legitimate. You can create an account, you sign in, and if you send them money, they will show you a little graph of like, this is how your money's doing, and it's always going up. And they might even send you some money back to say like, look, you made $100. You want to keep going? And then you borrow money from your mother, your brother, your friend, you sell your boat, you sell your business, you take out a loan, you send them $100,000 or more than you can personally afford to lose, and you don't hear from them for a while, and you get a little bit nervous and you can't withdraw your money, and they tell you, they string you along until one day the website stops working. There are trading bots in crypto. If you are a level 1 user who doesn't know how to buy, sell, send, swap, store your crypto securely, if you have never turned your crypto back into cash, you don't understand different crypto networks, you haven't done some light DeFi, then just don't worry about trading bots for now. They can often be very costly. There are a lot of variables. They're very difficult to set up in terms of first-time users who don't know those things. And I don't know about you, Al. I don't know about you, Will. I have used trading bots before on like KuCoin. I personally find that they require more management than like a buy and occasionally trade strategy, and I have lost more money with them than I have made. What do you think? Any experience with them?
I've completely avoided them. I have no interest in screwing
There,
with them. To be
there's
honest.
so many variables, and they require so much adjustment. It's like trying to tune a car that is actively on the racetrack, you know, because you got to set parameters for the trading. What's the strategy? What's the spread? Are you buying and selling between these prices? And what if, you know, the token breaks out of those prices? Then you got to go back and adjust it. It can be profitable. It can be fun, especially if you're like a math nerd or you just love sitting at a computer and looking at charts all day. If you don't, trading bots are probably not for you. And the one that they're telling you they have that's automatic, it's a scam. So run from those people. They are not your teachers. If you follow them, you will end up in the pit of despair or the toilet. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk.
Well said.
Yeah, I've never used trading bots. I don't like things that I do not have complete control over. I
Yeah.
like control. End of story.
Yeah, I don't know. I've like you, Evan, I think I've looked at a couple of platforms that offered them, and I was like, you know, too many people grift using them, and it's just like it's the go-to like utility of every non-utility piece of garbage is like, we're gonna get a bot, and you know, it's just like rewrapping, you know, someone else's bot and calling it yours. But no, I don't know. I like Will. It makes me nervous when something is trading for me. I would experiment with them with like a tiny amount of throwaway crypto just to like kind of see how they worked or whatever, just because I can't really give an informed opinion about them because I've never used them. On the other hand, I feel like I've heard of people who have had good experiences with them. I'm sure if you know.
Well, and there are definitely a wave of products that are coming. Like I'm talking to a guy today about a potential sponsorship for the show. It's a company called Virus Labs. Their product is called Max APY. We just had DeFi Daddy on talking about Heyanon. There are products coming that will make it easier for you to like interact with a chat bot that has a wallet that can trade for you or can make smarter, you know, can find yield opportunities for you, or maybe just take some money that you can kind of like set and forget according to a strategy, the way you would with like an index fund or, you know, your money manager, but it's a robot or it's on the blockchain. Those kind of things are definitely coming. When they're here, we're going to tell you about it. Like, you are so early to this stuff. And the fact that you're here in this audience, like you're absolutely not going to miss it. Can I ask you guys 2 quick rapid fire questions? Candlesticks, Will.
No.
Patterns, how do I read them? Pitch the class, and where do you get your economic news?
Yeah, so first of all, if you want to start to level up if you're a beginner in TA, we have a live course that I'll be teaching this Thursday. Information for it is in the Discord. If you're not there, hop in. Information is there. We're only accepting 25 seats for the live course. There will be
15 seats.
15
And that's just, you know, so Will can manage the class. And
Yeah.
we'll sell the recording afterwards for cheaper to everybody. It's going to be like
Yeah.
$15.
And now, I would not consider myself personally a technical analysis pro. I can definitely get people, though, I feel very confidently, getting people to be that stepping stone. If you just started, you have a few basic knowledge. If you want to learn, this is a great course for you. We'll do an overview on how to set up your chart, the tools and indicators that you can use, even ones that I don't use. I'll give you the information to begin exploring them on your own. We'll go through a bunch of trading setups that I like for how to find buy points, sell points. And it'll be, in my personal opinion, it'll be a really good stepping stool for people to kind of like get up to the next level as you continue your own personal journey in trying to get better at read charts. So
Amsfar says anything more than 15 and Will starts getting nervous. That's okay, man.
and then what was the other question?
The other question was, where do you get your economic news?
A lot of it, honestly, there's no better place for economic news than Twitter. That's the best thing about Twitter, in my personal opinion. Jesse Cohen, let me look up his, he's my favorite for US based. He's a global market analyst at investing.com. And he's been a financial analyst for quite a bit of time now. He's fantastic. His @ symbol on Twitter is @Jesse Cohen INV. So INV short for investing.com. So Jesse Cohen INV. He's a great source of information there. Other folks as well. I mean, when I know that there's like, the Fed has a decision on interest rates or core CPI inflation, the labor, the labor of Bureau statistics, let me double check on that, is the place where you get the official economic numbers from the government, or it's the Bureau of Labor, the Labor of Bureau Statistics. Let me double check on that.
I know the one you're talking about. If you search it, it'll come up. I think it's Bureau of Labor Statistics.
It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is a government source where you get all of the government information directly from the source. They'll have forecasts there as well for certain things. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics is great. Jesse Cohen is great here on Twitter. Gio Hussar is also wonderful. There's another guy. I've shared his stuff before. He's an economist on TikTok. He's phenomenal. He has a really big beard and typically wears like Maynard kind of outfits. I forget his name though. I'd have to look him up. But anyway, those are all good places to start.
Thank you.
But
Will.
there's a bunch of people on Twitter you could follow to get the latest information as it comes out.
And also, we have a question that I think I've seen for the first time. Can you download Discord on a Nintendo Switch? I have absolutely no idea. Fact check yourself, brother. Not a clue. If you are using Discord on a Nintendo Switch, my hat goes off to you.
You can use Discord to chat with friends while playing games on Nintendo Switch, but you can't directly install the Discord app on the Switch.
Dang. Will with the fast fingers. You get a point for that.
Just call me Jamie.
Just call me Jamie.
Call me
Hey, Jamie, pull that up. Yeah. Such a
yeah.
good question. Do you happen to have an ETA for our friend Gio Hussar?
I
Because
don't.
want to make
the
sure
last message I sent him, I was like, "Hey, we're live from 8 to 9:30. So hop in when you can." And he said, "Sounds good." And then I gave a heart on his thing, and I also
Got
told him to go to your
Don't
TikTok. So,
We had a question about the TA course. How long will it be? That's 1 a.m. your time. And to that, I say, first of all, protect your sleep, my friend. Second of all, the course is about 2 hours. Right now, you can register for the live course. And as soon as it's completed, I will turn the recording into another course that you can buy. It'll be available forever. We'll have it on our website. And that is going to be almost as good as hanging out with Will in person. You just won't be able to ask a question. But if you do that, you come into the Discord and you can ask your questions there. It's totally free. The only thing missing is you. So that's the play. Get the recording, whatever time zone you're in, join the Discord server. And then we have a whole channel dedicated to technical analysis where it's not just Will, it's a lot of people.
there's some really smart people in there.
Yeah,
Smart people.
I
in
don't
there.
spend time in that room because it's wild.
That room has given me so much homework, where I'm like going through and I don't understand half of it. I'm just like all these different techniques that I wasn't like exposed to before, and it's cool. The technical analysis part of the Discord is a cool place. It can be like really getting into the deep end for some folks, but it's a great place to just start like picking up bits and pieces of information to go and like run with and do some homework on your own.
Yeah, I agree. I have learned things from others' observation. And the cool thing is when people have like disagreements, and I'll peek in there every now and then, or not necessarily disagreements, but just like, they'll interpret a chart differently and then they'll talk about why. I've learned something pretty much every day, multiple times a day when I'm observing conversations in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question here too about, I have a couple of questions. So the first one is, I'm losing money on Doge. Guys, should I sell my Doge? So can we talk to people who are feeling a little nervous right now, who are losing money in the crypto market, especially maybe if it's their first time? The thing I would say, and then I'm going to kick it to you, Will, is pay attention to your gut. If you are feeling nervous, then maybe you are over leveraged. Maybe you've invested more than you can afford to lose. And it's okay to make a decision to take some of that money off the table. However, I do see a lot of people who are new to the volatility of crypto buy something maybe for a good reason and then panic a little bit when it changes, and they buy things as they're moving upwards and very expensive, and they sell things when they go downwards and are very cheap, and lose a lot of money that way because they're making emotional decisions. And I know that's something you talk about all the time, Will. So what's your advice to those people?
Whatever your emotions are telling you to do, 9 times out of 10, do the opposite. If your emotions are telling you to sell, don't sell. But if, like Evan said, you're overexposed to the market with like, you need that money for rent, or some shit like that, right? Like you really over invested in the market and you're down. If you need to sell at all to put yourself in just a better mental space to be able to reevaluate the market, don't sell your whole bag. Sell maybe like just a tiny little bit to just put yourself in a better mental space to be able to be a little bit more impartial, a little bit more emotionless as you evaluate the market. Because again, understand, your emotions will lead you to make the incorrect decision 95% of the time in financial markets.
No Cosmic says buy high, sell low is the breakfast of champions.
Buy high, sell low is the breakfast of exit liquidity, which I need. So, we need some people like that in order for us to make money. It's a PvP world in this investing space, unfortunately, but we try not to do it to folks in our community hearts.
I don't know, man. I don't think every token is. I don't think Bitcoin is PvP. For example.
Sure it is.
No, it's not. I can buy at
It's a
$10,000
financial
and you can
asset.
buy at $20,000 and we can both win. I think Bitcoin is a
You can do that with every asset.
Yeah, the audience is bigger, so it changes the dynamic of PvP.
yeah, but
like
Bitcoin,
this-
like you often say, Alex, it's one of those tokens you don't need to sell to benefit from. I can take out
Correct.
loans on my Bitcoin now.
Yeah,
I can,
Yes.
use it as an asset on my balance sheet.
It is less. Alex, go ahead.
the threshold to get there, I think, is just higher. Like no one's going to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and then leverage it as an asset. So I think that inherently the idea of investing with any degree of speculation has some amount of PvP in the whole thing. The scale is just so tiny and specific when we talk about like memes, because there's like 8 people,
Sure.
and in that
Well-
case 100%, like one guy gets in and dumps everything and tanks it. Someone gets in there and Ryan Fournier is the whole thing, and all of a sudden
Ryan Fournier.
it all gets rugged. But Bitcoin is just so huge.
Well, and let me be clear. I recognize that the entire monetary system is a PvP thing, where the incentive
think
is always
that's
to
it.
compete and
It's a
accumulate
spectrum,
more.
right? Everything on earth is a spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. Someone is adding people who are just here in the live. I've gotten 2 follow requests. Listen, this seems like another good time to say that if you are watching this show, we are so sorry. We know there are impersonators. These are our only accounts. We will never add you from an alternate account. We will never directly message you on any platform, including Discord. If you try to join the Discord and you get a message from someone who says, hey, just checking on my followers and it looks like me, it's not me. It's not Will. It's not Alex. Block those people, ignore them. They cannot hurt you if you do not respond to them. We're aware it's a problem. And unfortunately, most social media channels are they lag. They're behind this 8 ball. Scammers are fast.
Evan
gotta stay ahead
DM'd
of
me
them.
in Spanish yesterday.
Did I really?
Yeah, you did, man.
Hey, shout out to my scammers for making me look multicultural. I had somebody who
It's all
commented,
that Babbel subscription.
yeah, somebody who joined one of my lives and started answering people impersonating me. I was like, listen, man, I respect the game. You are so bold, but get the hell out of here. I blocked a Will from this live right now. Occasionally, I will go through the list of people who are in our audience to see who, in fact, is legitimate and who's not.
Yeah.
Alex, I have a question to ask you too. Do you send a gift every live so you get to the top of the viewer board?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Because you are
I've seen
always,
that
this is
before.
you, this is your official profile, and it always is my #1 gifter and viewer. I
Yeah,
think you're like
so-
auto gifting me, for which I say thank you, but you totally don't have to.
But see, that's the thing.
Probably.
I'm not. That
You-
balance has been 0 for ages. I truly do. It's not just you either. Like if I go into any live, that's what happens to me. I don't know how it
Weird.
works. Yeah.
Accidentally the
giver,
most
man.
popular
You're a
guy in the
lover.
room.
You know,
I don't-
it's because
I
you
don't know.
yell at so many people that you try to like offset it by gift giving.
Yeah, if I yell at someone, I will send you a gift at the end.
I will send you a gift. There will be a fruit basket, and then like underneath the fruit is just like a big, just like styrofoam middle finger.
And it says,
My dad can beat up your dad.
yeah, exactly.
It says, "I hate your
Evan.
meme coin."
Can we pivot really quick to another? I would say scam adjacent. I would not call this a scam, but Evan, I think maybe has a little bit more insight than I do. So the question I get it all the time is about Pi Network, and
Yeah.
I would not call Pi Network a straight up scam. I would just call it a complete waste of your time. And
Wait,
I
there's a
think
William Watson bot in here.
Just kill him. Got him.
Is it? Is it actually?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wasn't
Got
me.
him. Don't fret. I
would-
got him. See you, Will.
Honestly, sometimes though, like they do screw with me. Like my own will DM me and just be like, great video. Like, hey, keep it up. Hey, thanks. And I'm just like, dude, this is such a weird relationship.
Yeah, seriously. So you're talking about Pi Network.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a scam, but
If I can't imagine that I'm off base with this, but my assessment is right. So if the whole thing about Pi lately is that they're going to mainnet at some point in the near future, or
that's
whatever,
right.
and
That's right.
all of this mining that you've been doing for however long is now going to mean something. Your IOU is going to be given to you. Can anyone describe to me a scenario wherein that is not an immediate and the most hefty dump and liquidity extraction in crypto history? Like something that you have been spoon feeding people for how long has it been now? Like years and years.
I think since at least 2017, possibly earlier.
And you're gonna mainnet this piece of shit with nothing on it. I've not seen a single post that describes someone who's excited to go build their thing on Pi. And you need a lot. You don't just need like one great thing. You need like a bunch of stuff. So in my head, you're going to give all of these people who got their IOUs cashed a token in theory and the ability to dump it. And all I can think of is, hey, remember when Detroit put in the giant highway because they thought it was going to bring everyone in? And in fact, what happened is that everyone who was there and wanted to leave just used it to escape.
Yeah.
This feels like Detroit's highway. This feels like 375 to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say it's not. The liquidity is absolutely the thing. The promise they've been
Exclusively
making
sell-pressure.
for some time is we will create liquidity for this. And the difference between Pi and something like, I mean, Bitcoin could very well have been the same in the sense that the only way to get Bitcoin are to mine it, to buy it from a miner, or to buy it from somebody else who currently holds it, which sounds like a Ponzi scheme. But the network has grown big enough, and there are enough people who will accept Bitcoin as, you know, an exchange of value on the network that it has become adopted. Pi Network is similar in the sense that you can only get it by mining it, by participating in this, you know, click to earn game. But there is no liquid demand for it. The people who launched it won't pay you for it. The people who mine it, there are a handful of people who will buy it from you. A lot of the time they'll buy it in exchange for gift cards, or, you know, they'll send you other crypto or stuff. But this is a very small amount of people who are kind of believing that someday, by means of, you know, venture capital or the team's bootstrap liquidity, there will be an infusion of money, and there will be a smart contract that allows people to trade their Pi tokens for other tokens worth dollars, because they are crypto tokens. So you need to have some sort of liquidity pool that is on chain to create that swap. But as Alex said, history shows us that when there is the option to turn your tokens into something that's liquid, cash, people tend to extract that value and they don't look back. If there's no reason to use the network, if there's no reason to participate in it, then people won't stay there. So, but again, that's been the promise they've made for a long time. We're going to create liquidity soon. We're going to launch the mainnet soon. We're going to. It benefits them not to do that as long as people continue giving them their data and their attention, because that's how they make money. They sell ads and stuff like that. So
And
Ponzi
everyone
until
should be
proven
terrified.
otherwise.
Everyone should be terrified of them going to mainnet, because there's absolutely nothing that's going to launch there that's going to make anyone want to buy it.
Yeah, nobody who is like a real crypto entrepreneur, venture capitalist, believes the network doesn't have. You look at ETH, it's got every kind of smart contract and every kind of flavor. You can build just about anything you might want to use there. And there's so much significant energy and attention. The network is deeply decentralized. Pi doesn't have any of that. It's like, you know, vaporware. What can you do there? Nothing.
Yeah.
Talking about
because
Pi
you
Network.
you can sell the tokens. That's all you.
That's
are
all
going
you
to
can
be
do.
able to do.
Also, guys, Geo Husar should be here in 1 to 2 minutes.
I wonder if he thought. Different time zone.
No, he
Yeah.
just.
Maybe.
I'm sure that he just thought that it was like, this is the window, like
Yeah.
join sometime. And
Well,
he
good.
has small children, so I'm sure that he was.
I know he does. I'm not picking on him.
doing.
Yeah,
small-
I have a bunch
small
of
child
questions
things.
for him, so I'll ask.
I'm gonna let you
can
drive.
hop on a live like later too.
Well, no.
I was gonna
You drive the
Yeah.
ship, man. And if I can go, Alex, I know you might have to go. I can go a little bit long today. And I don't want to deny people the opportunity to learn.
I can go a
from
little
his
bit long too,
experience.
so it just depends on his time. But so we'll see. We'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, for everyone who's telling me to watch it with the Detroit stuff, I grew up there. I was stationed there for years. I love Detroit. It's one of my favorite places. It's a beautiful city, and everyone should go visit it. The highway thing is just simply a fact of history. That's what happened.
That's right. Really quick, I want to answer this question before Gio Husar gets here. I'm doing a lot of research before I jump in. Love it. What is the first thing I should purchase and how? Alex, can I kick this to you? This is something I will say. I already know what Alex is going to say.
Fine.
No. Alex, I already know what you're going to say, and I will tell you, over the weekend, I have made a new playlist that's called Learn to Use Crypto that gives people the step-by-steps for how to do the buy, sell, swap, with stable coins. Tell them what it is and how they should do it, Alex.
Did you? Well, I was gonna, I was gonna do exactly what you said I was gonna do. I was gonna tell people to go check out all of your homework videos. I'm so glad that you finally put.
Yeah, but tell them what the process is. Tell them what do my videos for me so they can get your flavor, and then when they see my videos, they'll be like,
Alex,
oh, this is a different flavor.
Sell for me.
You know, because the videos they live there, and we both have all these videos. All three of us have these kind of videos, but just because of how TikTok kind of sucks for organization, mine are more recent. They're in a playlist.
I will actually, I will see your request to give you a commercial, and I'll give myself a commercial, which is actually a commercial for all of us. I did another little note consolidation, so this PDF will be free for everyone. If you want a copy of the thing I'm about to describe, then it'll be free in the Discord. And if you hate Discord and you're uncomfortable there, then send me an email.
Yeah, I'll put it on the website.
The RiseUpMorningShow.com. Evan, this is perfect. I was gonna show you guys this today, but I did what I think. So I've been trying to come up with this exact thing. What's the shortest, most concise list of actionable items that you can give someone who is like brand new and has finally figured out just like the very basics, and they're like, I would like to get into it. How do I know what to buy? And my God, I think I'm closer than I've ever been before.
Okay, let's hear it, bub.
So
I'm ready.
Well, I guess it also does depend, like, from where in the conversation. So this is assuming that you have like, okay, I would like to invest in crypto. I'm trying to figure out like, which ones are worth my time and which ones are not. Oh my God, Google, you're rugging me. I can't stall them forever.
That's okay. I can
hear also, by the way.
Okay, great. We're gonna bring it up in just a second. Thank you very much.
Basically, I'll just read you the action items, and then we can go into more detail if there's desire. But otherwise, honestly, we don't have to. I won't take up all the time with it just because I'll give you the PDF for free. So you need to know the basic terminology to be able to suss out marketing fluff, bullshit, and understand what the projects are actually talking about. I'm curious if you guys disagree with the order here. Website first.
Website first?
Like, go to the website first.
Oh, for whatever crypto project or token you're checking out?
Project. Yeah. Did you want to go somewhere else with this, or are you talking about?
I was not talking about particular crypto projects. I was saying before anybody buys any crypto token, they should learn a couple of skills. I tend to think those skills are...
Yeah, just learn how a wallet works and learn how exchanges work. And
what kind of crypto should be your first purchase?
A stablecoin, USDC.
These are tokens that are pegged to the price of government currencies, and they are not as volatile as something like Bitcoin. No, I'm sorry. That's where I was going. I just wanted you to set up that.
Buy USDC. Put it on Aave.
Buy USDC. Check out Alex's free PDF. I'm going to put it at the RiseUpMorningShow.com. And please welcome our guest, the man, the myth, the legend, formerly Crypto Husar. Now you know him and love him as Gio Husar. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you, brother?
Hello.
Hey, dude.
What's up,
How
guy?
you doing?
Good,
Let me try to fix my camera. All right, save. All right, there I am.
There he is.
All right.
Hey.
Huzzah! How you doing, dude?
Yeah, I'm in my car right now just because I'm moving in 19 different places. So pardon the lack of beautiful setup.
All
No,
good.
man.
We're just
right.
glad to have you here, man. And I didn't even know you used to be Crypto
Wonderful.
Husar.
I was. That was my first name here on TikTok. I was like all about crypto because it was just it was this like crazy, beautiful thing that was like skirting the typical financial system. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, sign me up for that, man. You know,
Yeah,
like
correct.
just what you were saying. Go to Aave, put your USDC up, and you were getting like 5%. Oh my God!
Amazing.
So if you have like
Now it's
100
8. Yeah.
what was that?
8.
Now
It's
it's 8%. Yeah.
So imagine that if you had $1 million and you put that on Aave, you're getting $80,000 a year.
Isn't it wild?
Nothing.
It's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you just have to make sure that you can trust the DeFi protocol. With Aave, you probably can. They're plenty out there.
Yes.
You put that much on there, and about 6 months later, and it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the rub. You know, like Aave's been around for quite some time. Like, you know, I know there's all this beautiful tech coming out, but I'm still just like, if the crypto hasn't come out, like if it came out after 2019, I'm like, let's just wait.
I need a few more years to see if it has staying power.
Yeah, and especially anything that came out after the crash, the Luna crash, there's no way we don't know, because everything that's been even before 2022 has, if it's still around, it withstood FX, the Luna crash, all this other horrendous crap. So, you know, it's to me, it's less risky.
I will say I have a higher bar personally for tokens that have been around a long time and haven't
for sure.
managed to do as much. I just said before you got on this morning that Cardano, for example, has a $40 billion market cap, which is the same as Marriott Hotels and Ford Motor Company. And when I look at all the things they're doing every year, this year in our culture, all the assets that they own, and then I look at Cardano, I love Cardano, you know, as a company, their vision, but I'm like, what are you guys really doing? Is their price tag a reflection of the value they provide? And a lot of the time the answer is no.
Totally, for sure.
We talked about that last week a little bit though. Like when you look at those big things and you wonder how could you be sitting out on the entire market? Like how could you be sleeping through the entire bull market? And Daniel gets the credit for phrasing it this way because he's right. It's because they can.
Mm-hmm.
They are in no danger of going out of business. None of these big. You want to look at ICP, Cardano, Polkadot. They can all just hit the snooze on marketing because all of their bag holders will talk about them and keep them in the conversation for free. And then they can just be a research facility who is permanently funded by speculators, and they'll never go out of business. It perfectly works.
Speculators. Don't forget that, cultish speculators.
Yep.
Because the devotion that these people have to their cryptos is nothing short of cult-like. You know, I mean, and like it's funny. As a human being and reasonable person, I don't like cultish behavior is usually a bad thing, but now it's like cultish behavior that is keeping up market caps.
Yeah. It's one of the things I have on my like list of criteria for cryptos. Does it have a cult to support it? Yes. Ooh.
Bullish. Bullish on cults.
The floor just raised.
Do you think Algorand has cultishness? I think a little bit, and I'm a big fan.
If they do, Cosmic is their pope. And
Yeah, do you know Cosmic Crypto? Our friend?
Cosmic's in here. I love Cosmic so much.
I kind of think so. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a cult for Algorand, but here's the thing. It did great for the price of Algo. Algorand has done great as one of the air quotes dinosaur coins along with XRP that have been able to do well as this alt season has had its flare-ups. So again, just a point like, hey, does it have a cult?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like XRP blew me away. I mean, the fact that they're over $3 already, I was like maybe they'll hit like $1.50, maybe $2, but no, all right,
it's
and
been
I'm
amazing.
Not the biggest fan of XRP. I've actually trashed XRP a lot.
Also same.
And I also just like whenever I did try to research XRP, it just looked like cultish crap. Like, oh my gosh, these guys aren't talking about business plans. They're not talking about. There's really. Like, I didn't see anything that felt official. It just felt like we're gonna replace the entire money supply, and we're gonna go into the derivatives market. We're gonna do this, and I was like, oh my god, it didn't seem like there was anything that where there are actually feet on the ground. Like I've heard reports about it, but when I would hear anyone in XRP talk about XRP, it was like am I in the I don't know, the Manson group here? Like what kind of crazy?
It's a lot of promise
Mhm.
and not a lot of proof in the pudding. And
Yes.
I had a friend who is a developer who was like, you know what? I'm going to give XRPs, they just launched smart contracts over on Ripple. They've got meme tokens now. I'm going to give it another shot. Let me check out what's going on under the hood at Ripple Network. And his analogy was, that compared to Ethereum, it is just so like backwards. I often say for people who are listening, thinking about blockchain, how do I understand it? A network is like a city. Ethereum is like a piece of infrastructure, the way a city is like a critical piece of societal infrastructure. And Ethereum is like a great highway or New York City. It's got everything you might want, lots of models for how to get different places, many kinds of restaurants, many institutions, culture. And XRP network, Ripple, is it just, not a lot of people have built as much stuff there. It is not as developed. It is not as easy. There's not as much architecture. And that's why the world's institutions and many retail investors have chosen Ethereum as the backbone of the future internet.
Did you see the live stream clip with David Schwartz talking
No,
about
what'd he say?
XRP and banks specifically? It's great.
What's it say?
So for the record, I've met this guy. If you want to see like, he is such a nerd in the best way. Like,
yeah, totally.
This dude is so freaking objective when it comes to talking about stuff. Like he is very mission focused, and he has his it's very hard to describe. He's so in it. You remember when like Charles was like at the height of streaming Charles era, and he was just like answering questions about tech and like doing all this kind of stuff and what this means and how this works and blah blah blah. That's Schwartz. He doesn't care, or if he does, he doesn't really let on. He does a very good job of keeping it separate. So the other day, I saw this clip of him live streaming or recording or whatever, and he was just talking about he's like, basically, bank partnerships make for great headlines and they get people excited, but banks aren't really great for business, and that's not really a priority because why would it be? Like banks are too scared to try crazy things, and
Very
if
much
they
so.
are, then he's just like, they're just not good customers. And the announcement,
No, they're the worst customers.
Yeah, he's like,
Dude.
so that's
Well,
not.
banks
focus
don't
on.
build. Banks don't
Exactly.
lead building. I mean, they provide funding
No.
for building, but they don't pioneer anything incredible.
No.
Yep.
I'll find the clip and
want
put it in
Also-
Discord, but it was
Right.
good. It was good.
Also, I've given this story before, but I used to sell AI machine learning software to Morgan Stanley. And what they do is, and this is how every bank is shaped, you have how the bank runs, and then underneath that, you have what's called a center of excellence. The center of excellence is just a digital depository of every single piece of software that could maybe at some point, maybe be useful to them, that are just labs that they experiment with. It's just data science, financial experiments.
Yeah.
And so they'll buy a really small instance of everyone's stuff and play around with it, learn from it. And if there's anything that they like, they have more money than God. They just have their team build it and implement it themselves into their own thing if they decide they want it. And that's the same thing from a partnership standpoint too. They'll partner with anybody.
Yeah.
Try to learn to then take your stuff and see if there's anything of value to get from you. And you'll willingly do it because having that sticker on there increases your valuation to raise more capital to go and invest in yourself. And that's just how it works. That's how these banks do business. And I can tell you, from doing business with Morgan Stanley for 2.5 years, they're the worst. They sucked so much. I hated walking into that building. I hated it so much. But none of you are surprised by that. I also have some other stories about him too, but we'll save that for maybe an after dark episode.
And also you never know if like someone might just have a bone to pick and try to do some kind of libel,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But dude, while we have you here, first of all, I want to tell you in person, I've loved your channel for forever. And I think it's awesome because I love crypto, but then I also love like geopolitical, like empire versus empire, like kind of situations in the world. And I think that's awesome. So your channel has been perfect. Now knowing that you have like a crypto interest and background, I think it's sweet. And so I wanted to ask you, for crypto investors and traders right now, what are some of like the most important like geopolitical things happening in the world right now that people should be paying attention to, and at the very least start like educating themselves on, that could directly affect the market?
Wow. Well, one I'd like to mention is the Japanese carry trade that you talked about.
Mhm.
I think I think that's something to take into. I don't even have they raised the interest rates yet?
They did. They raised it by 0.25%. They announced it Thursday
night,
around
right?
midnight.
Thursday around midnight.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
Friday was the first reaction to it, and I wasn't expecting it to be a big deal this time around. And so far, it seems to be playing out that way.
Yeah, so far it seems vanilla.
Yeah.
I'm still a little like, you know, I took out some of my money just in case something unexpected happens. I'm gonna keep it out for like a week, just in case there's not some unintended flare up that harms the markets again. Because like what happened in what was that, July or August? That was
July.
holy wow.
That was
It
tough.
Yeah, I mean, it was great because I got to buy some of my favorite cryptos for like cheaper. Like I bought a ton of Algorand when it hit 10 cents and then it jumped up to 50 and I was like, you know, so I was like, I am the best investor of all time, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that just luck. But I mean, I think that was really important. Like just knowing how like Japan has an effect on the American markets, or how they can have an effect on the American markets. That's a really big deal. Also, the deflationary spiral that China's facing. You know, like
I was going to ask
like
you about China specifically. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like they've been going with there's wholesale and then there's retail. And wholesale, they've been going through deflation for like 2-3 years. And with retail, like their regular old CPI, it's like in and out. But it's, you know, like they'll be in deflation, like, you know, like negative 0.5 percentage point, and then they'll come up like, you know, 0.3% or whatever, and you know, but then it just goes right back down. So it just looks like that the CCP can't keep the markets up the way it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, China is the second largest economy in the world. It's one of the reasons why oil is still so cheap, because their manufacturing is doing so poorly. You know, like oil is below $80 a barrel. It was supposed to be at 120, maybe even 150 when China started recovering. But because of just China's like economic mess, that kind of has made the entire world very uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that like that's if I just think that's one of the things that people don't talk about, but it's kind of keeping the crypto markets low, because it's a lot of other markets low, you know. And I know the tech sector is doing well, I guess, right? I mean, I'm not paying 100% attention.
Yeah, it's been doing great until this morning.
Recently.
Until this morning. There you go. And like, I feel like we're just on this like really narrow precipice that can just push us over the edge, because like, what the hell is going on in tech that's so incredible, really fundamentally? I mean, I know there's the AI craze, but if you speak to anyone in AI, they're like, we're kind of not close to where everyone thinks we are.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think that China's contributing to a lot of global market uncertainty, and that's keeping the crypto markets really low. So, I mean, before, what did we do? Like during COVID, or people maybe even like 2017 or 2018, you just put your money, you would put your money in and leave it alone and just like watch it go up until you saw some kind of peak, and then you take your money out and all right, you know, you get to say you're a genius. But I feel like that's not happening now.
No,
I feel like-
and also
Go
like
ahead.
you have to be really strategic with what you're investing in. For crypto and also with stocks. With stocks, like tech's going up, but everything else has been like really kind of recessionary if you look at their stock prices. And then in the crypto space, also you have the added problem of there being so many more cryptocurrencies for the liquidity to flood into. You really, like in 2017 when I first got into the market, you could buy anything. You could buy anything, and it would 5 to 6x if you just held it for like a month and a half, 2-3 months or so. Right now, you can't. You have to be really strategic with what you're buying. You have to find the things that either have a lot of sound fundamentals or that have the strongest cults, and those are the things that are going up and that have ties to the hottest trends. Otherwise, you can't just like have a portfolio of, you know, like 15 or 20 random altcoins and expect your portfolio to go up right now, because that's just not happening. It's
Well,
much
there are
more
a million
complex.
tokens launched a week right now, and so it's almost
crazy.
impossible for people to keep up. And there's more liquidity than ever, but there are more places to park it than ever
Mhm.
too. So it's
How many tokens are there?
I mean, you know, millions and millions. There
So
are about
many.
1 million tokens launched a week right now. I couldn't tell you how many tokens there are, but it is easier than ever to launch a token in terms of meaningful cryptos. Most of the market cap, like the total market capitalization for all cryptocurrency, is held in the top 10,000 tokens, no sweat, and probably even the top 1,000 tokens. We could find that information on CoinGecko.com, but most
found
of them
this-
are not significant. Go ahead, Al.
This exact stat I found in a tweet yesterday, actually, that was basically just saying, I want to say that the figure was somewhere around 28 million individual. So
Damn.
and for context, to compare to like this point in the market cycle last time, it was like 18,000. So
Man.
in the last how many years we've gone from 18,000, and most of those 18,000 were trash.
And just one more
They're
metric
Doug's-
on
so 3,000 in 2021.
just another metric on that kind of growth in 2021, or maybe it was 2020 DeFi summer. Ethereum had a market cap, or excuse me, a total value locked in its ecosystem of around $60 billion. Now we're talking hundreds of billions.
Yeah.
And the space has really grown tremendously. And Doug points out here, Dune Analytics, for people who are looking for a good visualization tool, is a great dashboard with a lot of metrics that are hard to find in other places, easily displayed for visualization. I'll throw it in the Discord. Cosmic Crypto is saying in the comments, sounds like it could be a rotational top. He tagged you, Geo Husar. But people are, as you said, kind of uncertain right now. There's a lot of different stuff going on in the micro moment and the macro moment.
Yeah, like the Fed was supposed to be lowering interest rates, but then inflation proved to be too sticky, and now they're delaying it. We're still at 4.5% when they probably wanted it to be like at 4%.
Well, and of course, we're seeing a little bit of back and forth between Trump and Powell about whether or not that's going to happen. President says bring the rates down. Powell says can't just bring the rates down.
I love just imagining Powell on the other end of the phone of Trump, just being like, just like smoking a cigarette, just like, just getting yelled at by Trump. He's like, oh, it'll destroy the U.S. economy. I can't. Leave me alone. He's like, God, it's going to destroy everything. I can't just lower rates.
Well, and because their relationship started off contentious too, because
Yeah.
there was the question posed to Jay Powell about, like, will you step down? And he's like, over my dead body, you have to drag me out, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
And now here we are. So I imagine that, because Will, are we getting remarks from him on Wednesday?
Wednesday, we get a decision on interest rates. Everyone and their mother is expecting them to pause and hold.
Right.
And then the big thing that will shape the markets is what he says in his questioning from reporters.
Right.
He's going to be super hawkish. Is he going to be a little dovish? Those are new terms to you. Hawkish is bearish. Dovish
So
is,
that's
bullish.
the question. Like, what's the divergence going to be between him and what Trump is saying? And
then there's going to be a lot of
obviously-
questions about like, so Trump wants you to bring down rates. What are you going to do? And he's like, whatever I want. Anyway, next question.
Yeah, because technically he doesn't answer to Donald Trump.
Doesn't answer the president. Yeah, technically not a part of the government.
The whole point of the Fed.
Speaking of Donald Trump, like the, like I made a post.
I like
where
this beginning.
Yeah.
if he was never a billionaire before, he is one now.
He is
because
now.
of his coin.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, but it's like a pathway towards international bribery.
Yeah.
It's
it
like-
could
Can you
be.
speak a little on that? Because I have heard people say on both sides that international actors could purchase this coin to, inflate his ego and the market cap and gain some kind of influence. And I've also heard convincing, compelling arguments that that's not really a cause for concern.
I think any path towards making Donald Trump wealthier is dangerous. Like, I mean, I really do think, like, I mean, I know there are rules that he has 90 days before any Trump entity can sell, because I think there are 2 Trump entities that own Trump. But
But
and they own-
supposedly there have been insider wallets, and some of them have even been team wallets.
Oh,
That
not supposedly.
been-
There were insider wallets.
Well, there were, but I'm sorry. Supposedly there were team wallets, meaning the wallets that are receiving the allocations, the unlocks of tokens in the 3 months and 36 months afterwards, that have been able to sell. And I have not verified that, and I would have thought it would have been like controlled by a smart contract, but some pretty
Well-
smart people that I trust are saying that is the case. In which case,
Just don't forget that there's 2 methods for that kind of kickoff, right? You've got the wallets that have the allocation that are confined by the vesting schedule that's been advertised and disclosed of however many months. But then there's also everyone who knew the contract address beforehand. And so that's where like Ryan Fournier comes into play with his
Sure.
ability to sell whatever on day two.
What I'm saying is I think some of those vesting wallets that were supposed to not sell that we thought might have been, held in a smart contract are in fact able to sell and are selling. And I don't want to distract because the question was, why you said you're skeptical of anything that might make Donald Trump wealthier. And I wanted you to please continue on that point.
Yeah, just that's it. I mean, it's like, what's to stop Putin from making a $2 billion purchase of Trump?
Yeah.
Or,
And I would say too,
right.
just for context, because I know that some people in the audience are fans and some are not. So just keep in mind that as you look at this as a concept, pretend, if you wanted to see what the danger is, pretend that it was someone you hated who did this. So if you are on the right, just imagine what your potential concerns would be if Biden launched one on his way out the door, and or on his first day out or whatever. Pick the setup.
Well, and we don't have to be emotional to have a
No.
vested interest in being concerned about anyone who has a lot of power.
Financial influence on powerful
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and not just that, like, forget Putin. What if China puts in $5 billion into Trump coin? You know what I mean? Like, so there's so many ways to influence the current sitting president of the United States.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's,
and that's not that
good
expensive
thing for
either.
anybody. It's like you want a separation of church and state for your government. At least we're supposed to in America. And then also you want like a separation of financial influence and bribery away from your political officials. So like creating just like another door where like at the very least you have to say there's a possibility there is something to be aware of, to try to shine a light on, keep yourself aware of, because financial influence of our politicians happens all the time, but creating another lever to be able to do so isn't something we want.
Yeah.
That's the thing. At the very least, everyone should be concerned with, because even if you love Trump and you're like, I don't care about this, I love the dude, I'm fine with that, trust him. This opens up the door for, like Alex said, someone who you hate who comes in to do the exact same thing, and we don't want that. I don't want that for people on my side. I don't want that for people who I like at all, because it provides an opportunity for me to now no longer hate them and for them to no longer serve me and my interests as an American citizen and American voter. And this opens up the door for that to happen in perpetuity moving forward.
Yeah, and let's be clear. Alan in our comments raises a great question. Talk about Pelosi insider trading. If you are feeling defensive
We do
because
all the time.
we're
All the
talking about
time.
Donald Trump, like don't let that emotion cloud your ability to receive what is an interrogation of power. We are talking about power structures, and frankly, though Nancy Pelosi's insider trading is a huge problem that affects lots of people and their rights to a democratic, fair market, Donald Trump is the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe aside from Elon. You know what I mean?
And
Like I
also-
would make that argument, but
I think
Yeah, we
Trump
talk
is
about
more
Nancy
powerful than
Pelosi all
Elon.
the time too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Trump can take out Elon, though. I mean, I know Elon is very powerful, but I think people genuinely like Trump more than they like Elon Musk. Like
I would agree.
Especially lately.
If you're in a room with Donald Trump or Elon Musk, I think you'll be less weirded out by Donald. And that's saying something. Yeah, but I'm gonna hang out with Donald Trump. All right, okay, good. And I think like if there is some kind of distancing between these two in the White House, I think Donald Trump can easily curry the world in his favor.
Yeah, he definitely has more influence and far more public support than Elon. And also just like if I had to have a beer with one of the two, I'd pick Trump over Elon.
Yeah,
even before the my heart goes out to you gesture, I probably would have chosen Trump.
Oh, I've cleared out coffee shops with my with my stance on the gesture.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Do you want to give a hot take on it?
Yeah, it's an unforgivable gesture done. Like, look, that gesture, that exact gesture is illegal in Germany. It's illegal in Brazil. It's illegal in Russia. Quite a few other countries. It's illegal to make that gesture. You can get like arrested. In Russia, I made a post. It's Article 20.3 in like the Russian code of like unauthorized by like something offensive, that's like you cannot do any kind of gestures or hold any kind of symbols that represent it. All right. And the pictures, like they won't even show the picture of Elon making the gesture. They blur out the last half of his arm.
Wow.
So when people are like, oh, you're being sensitive, it's like, just look at Russian media. They won't show it. So
Well, I don't understand why we can't just call a spade and then accept that
because
two
these
things-
people back the horse, because they back the
course.
horse. It's like, oh, I'm backing this horse, and this horse can't do anything
like-
wrong because
Yeah, I personally get it. I'm just, speaking it into the ether. Like, obviously, there's lots of very fired up people in the comments right here, but it's very easy to get pissed off at the person you already dislike for whatever.
And I'll say I have liked Elon for a long time. Pushing forward of green energy, awesome. Space exploration for human survival and all that kind of stuff, awesome. Free speech protection, I like that. And then he started getting way more involved in politics, and I was like, I don't like this, because I don't like billionaires who own very important communication systems to be really, really politically on one side so openly. I was like, I don't like this much at all, but there's a bunch of stuff I do like. And then I saw that, and there's a lot of stuff I can forgive, but anything that is incredible, I have a lot of Jewish people in my life, anything that's like potentially anti-Semitic to the slightest, I viscerally have a reaction. So I put out a post right afterwards. I was like shocked and disgusted at this, but then I took it down. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm open to having the door open where he does have Asperger's, blah 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 blah. Maybe this could affect it. And then here's the counter argument to that.
He doesn't have it. He no one diagnosed him ever. He only diagnosed himself.
Okay, but also,
well, let's say
this.
Hang on. Let me finish here. All right. So here's the counter argument to that I think slams that argument back into the face of everyone who does it. And I want everyone to try to think about this. If you were giving, if you were on TV, you're on a game show, you're on a national television, and you accidentally, like definitely, absolutely accidentally do that with your arm to your chest, arm goes out, you did it, but totally by accident, you are hopefully horrifically embarrassed, and you apologize at least once. Something as simple as, guys, I didn't mean to do that, my bad, total accident, like really sorry about that, right? A simple little tweet, like you feel bad, you do that. Instead, he takes a picture of Democratic leaders who have their arm up, didn't do their arm to their chest in a crazy aggressive thing, just like arm up, and said like, the media will make you think whatever you want. And I was just like, bro, if you did that accidentally, you should be embarrassed, or at the very least, you have zero idea as to what the implications of that are, which is already a very dangerous thing. But worst case scenario, maybe you're Nazi. So I'm just saying, like, the fact that there was no apology or sense of like embarrassment at that, I go, whoa, okay. The weight of not a Nazi to maybe a Nazi is a little bit heavier, and maybe a Nazi.
Yeah. But not just that. Look, bottom of my heart, 2 hands. Bottom of my heart to you. But look, like that it's a very simple mechanics, like it just, I've never seen anyone with one hand to their chest say from the bottom of my heart, and then like out, hand down, looking straight into, I've never in my life have I seen that ever, and I don't know, like when I hear people defend it, it's like, I'm not sure if I said this or you saw my post, but my dad was rounded up by the German soldiers in World War II to be shot.
Oh shit!
And he got rescued, and then my grandfather was in a concentration camp.
Wow.
So when I hear people defend it, it's like I normally have some civility, but it goes out the window. It completely goes out the window. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you would help load them. And my family, we're not Jewish. Like, my wife is Jewish. My children are going to be raised Jewish. I'm not Jewish. My father wasn't Jewish. My grandfather he could read. That's why my grandfather was put in the concentration camp, because he could read,
Sorry, go ahead. No. I thought No. I didn't mean to step on you. I just wanted to, for a lot of folks who are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the conversation. If you're used to seeing us Monday through Thursday to answer your crypto questions and you're wondering, why the heck are we talking about politics? First of all, let me say, we're so glad you're here. If this isn't your thing, you can feel free to come back another time. We certainly won't take it personally. We'd love to learn with you anytime that you feel comfortable to be here. We're talking about politics, geopolitics, and the social context of our world because they absolutely have an important effect on what happens in markets, especially crypto markets. And we're here with our good friend Gio Husar, who makes time to give critical, helpful takes on this every day. So if you're new to this, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, his channel is at Gio Husar on screen there on TikTok. And I'm sure he would be glad to have your questions. He's a good friend of ours. And that's why we're talking about this today. So Will, I know you have a long list of questions there because you've done your research. Can you help take us in another direction as we keep
different topic?
Well, just
even though
not that I think it's
makes me sad, but
I
yes.
think it's an important. I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm glad you cleared the coffee house here.
Oh yeah, literally cleared the coffee house. Yeah.
And I want to let everybody know, like, your feedback is most welcome. And I would encourage you to, if you're uncomfortable, lean into this conversation. And if you have feedback for us, the best place to give it to us is going to be after the show in the Discord server. This chat's going to disappear, but we've got a totally free place that you can connect with us 24/7, whether the show is live or not. And that's discord.gg/rise up. We'd love to see you there. If you loved it, if you hated it, if you think we can do better, let us know. Will, the floor is yours.
Sure. I'll change topic. I will say one final sentence though. Everyone who is powerful needs to be held under a microscope. That is all. All right. So here's something at Gio Husar I wanted to ask you about, because this is something I've been watching with fascination because it affects Africa, a continent we don't talk about too much, but also it directly affects and weakens Europe and the European Union, which I find fascinating to watch because Europe's been on the decline since really the end of World War I, World War II definitely, with the final collapse of the French and English Empire, although they're kind of still there a little bit, especially the France one in Africa, and that's what I want to talk about. So for those of you who are unaware, France absolutely still has and has had their colonial empire in Western Africa underneath the African franc. It's been an economic trade empire in Africa. Since the Ukraine war, Russia has been picking apart at it by providing influence to African nations who want to lift off the shackles of colonial France, which totally get, by the way. And so, Gio Husar, have you been paying attention to this? Do you have any thoughts and opinions about how it could affect Africa, Russia, the Ukraine war, France? It's a whole bunch of stuff.
I think for what there are 9 or 10 other African countries that still are under the oppression of the Central African franc, or not the Central, just the African franc.
Yeah.
So I think for these countries, France is worse than Russia or China. France is the number one.
They are.
So, and I'm actually 100% okay. I don't care who it is that liberates these African countries from France, as long as they get liberated, because however bad things can get with Russia and China, it won't be as bad as it was under the French, because the French are these African countries are still paying the colonial tax to the French. They're paying these old taxes to infrastructure that was laid 100 years ago that really doesn't even work. And with what happened in Niger, Niger was one of France's largest sources of uranium. And they were paying pennies to the dollar for the uranium that they were getting from Niger compared to every other country. It's one of the reasons why the French were able to take so much advantage of nuclear power, is because they had practically free sources of uranium from Niger. And they got kicked out of that, as they should have been. Nobody talks about how the French still oppress Western Africa.
Nobody talks about it.
Nobody talks. Nobody
and it's
cares.
Such a huge economic boon for France and therefore the EU. It's a huge economic boon. Yeah.
Yes, and it's a shame because when I was younger and I was reading about World War II history, and I was like, wow, the French really care about liberty and independence. And if you see Casablanca, when the French sing their anthem in defiance of the Nazis, people are going, "Vive la France, vive la liberté," and it's like, motherfuckers, you are oppressing at that time 12 to 15 African nations.
Yep.
And I think whatever Russia and China will do to exert influence over these African countries, it won't be as deep or as nasty as the French. And I think that these African nations are going to be much harder to control by any other power, because they're kind of new They're not as invested in. And I mean, I think like countries like Niger, Gabon, Mali, and these countries that have had coups, I think they're setting more terms for China and Russia instead of being dictated to like they were under the French.
Yeah, at the very least, like they're being influenced to the other side because they're getting a better deal.
Yes, and they're getting infrastructure. China is providing billions of dollars of like bridges, highways, ports. So like I honestly, like, I'm not the biggest fan of any of the CCP or Russia, but I'm always happy when an African nation is liberated. And I think there's more room for them to become more independent if they break the shackles of the French.
Well, and honestly, technology and cryptocurrency specifically have been a route to personal empowerment for a lot of people in these countries.
In Africa.
In many African nations, cryptocurrency adoption is ahead of the curve. Like they are leading the world in terms of, and there is a huge incentive for Bitcoin specifically to go to places where energy is cheap. Energy tends to be cheap in Africa. There tend to be a lot of people who are not on the grid yet who get connected to the internet. And then instead of investing, a lot of money they don't have in technologies that are already outdated, they just look at what's coming next, invest in those things. It's less risky for them to do it. And they end up doing what's called leapfrogging. Many of them, citizens of these countries, governments in these countries, are empowering themselves to outpace their would-be liberators or their colonial oppressors to usher in the future. Like that's hugely exciting for democracy in a part of the world that has been denied it.
Yeah, and
I think the next renaissance is going to come from Africa.
Yeah, I do too.
I really do. I mean, I think maybe it might take 50 years. It might take a while, but I think we're going to see just this next cultural economic boom come from Africa. They have such a young population. Like in Nigeria alone, like it was great. I was speaking to the Nigerian, what is it? He was like, it was at a UN meeting and he was a Nigerian minister of, I think, infrastructure or something. And he was saying that there are like 60% of Nigeria are under the age of like 30. So they have this young, educated population. His name is, I know his name, Dr. Bosun Tunji, and he just really, like, he said that the one thing that Nigeria needed was just more fiber optics. He says they need 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables and they have about 30,000. So his job is really to just campaign to interconnect all of Nigeria through the fiber optic network. And I mean, it looks like he's doing the job. And I think once Nigeria actually manages to truly be like connected with that, I think they're going to be even more of a leader. And with crypto, they're the number 2. I think they're the number 2 adopter of crypto. Like it's huge.
Yeah, continentally speaking, yes, but I think I think Niger, I think South Africa, Ghana are in the top 10 in terms of and it's like a majority of people in those countries use crypto. Stable coins are big there. It's cool. It's really cool.
It's like, imagine this. It's like since energy is cheap, they can mine, and so you mine, you get some Bitcoin or Litecoin or anything, you convert that to a stable coin, and then boom, you convert that to dollars. You have dollars. You have dollars in like a country that you could see. You see your currency like shift between 1% to 300% a day in volatility sometimes.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Well, and that's why, play to earn, walk to earn, all these, whatever to earn cryptocurrencies are so big in countries like that, where you got an internet connection and $10 a day makes a big difference for you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And then the other thing too is like, we just talked about in crypto, like banking the unbanked. Africa has so many people who don't have access to any sort of financial product or liquidity or capital out there. One of the reasons why I deal with China is such a great thing. And then also the one that you have if you're in Western Africa is an oppressive colonialist setup. So crypto, there's so much need to provide people banking, loans, capital, liquidity to be able to build businesses in Africa. That's why there's a bunch of adoption there. Also remittance payments. Big in African countries as people leave African countries to go to other areas where you get bigger pay, send it back. Doing so with a stable coin, it's faster, it's cheaper. Remittance payments on crypto, huge need there in Africa as well. And I do think too that at some point you will see a renaissance in Africa where there's huge economic growth and boom, just because like when you look around the world, you find where can areas, air quotes, develop? Southeast Asia, which has been on the rise for sure, but the biggest opportunity for sure is Africa, and a huge hotbed of natural resources as well as a growing population. there aren't the West doesn't have growing populations except for in the U.S. because we have immigration, and both legal and illegal as well. And but like Europe is going down, Japan's going down, China is going down. That's going to be a huge problem for them in 30, 40 years.
Yeah. Their population's already shrinking. Their population's already dropped by a couple million. You know, it's their birth rate is like between 1.15 to 1.2.
Oh man, if whatever Jorge was in here earlier, he says quantum computing is gonna crush y'all's crypto fascist boys club. Man, if you were here, if only you were here 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
If you speak to any quantum scientist, quantum physicist, if you speak to any quantum physicist or any computer scientist who's dealing with like actual quantum computing, they'll be like, no, we're in the baby stages. It's still so hard. Like, do you guys know the difference between a quantum computer and a regular computer? It's pretty cool.
I would love to hear you explain it like we don't.
Okay, so like, you know, and you may know more than me, who knows, because you guys are in this. But like from what I understand is a traditional computer has like two modes, yes, no, like 1, 0, right? That's the bit, 1, 0. All right. So it's just two directions, but a quantum computer has something called a qubit, and the qubit, it doesn't just go two directions. It's like a sphere. It goes 360 degrees, well, more than 360 degrees. Do you know what I mean? Like there's literally like an infinite amount of directions that it could be pointing to. And then what the quantum scientists do is they sum up all of these directions to get some kind of output. So, and the thing is, with bits, like with your traditional computer, you have to have like a trillion bits or 10 trillion, a trillion bytes, like gigabytes, terabytes, all that stuff. But with a quantum computer, you can like the most sophisticated quantum computer has like maybe 200 qubits, and it can outperform any supercomputer because it's pretty crazy. Because it has some, like there's quantum entanglement where some qubits will model the other qubits, their exact like movements and everything. You have quantum entanglement, and that allows you to do everything at once, because if you know the position of one qubit, you can know the position of almost every other qubit. And so like the reason why it could, like, let's say you're trying to break a password. If you had a traditional computer, and let's say you had a 4-digit space for the password, a regular computer would go 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, right. No.
Yep.
But a quantum computer would put every potential combination at one time. At once. Mm-hmm. It's like, theoretically it could do that, but there's still so much noise. Because in order to get these qubits to actually, to actually get the input of just these qubits, you're trying to model a quantum environment, because these qubits don't really exist. They're abstract. They're mirroring quantum particles.
Well, and they're delicate. They have been captured or they've created states in which they can exist, but they're it needs to be extremely cold. They're very sensitive to vibration, temperature. The tiniest noise or motion can throw them off. So the problem we have right now is that quantum computers exist in the sense that they have happened, but maintaining them the way that I can pick my laptop up, take it to the grocery store, drop it on the couch, like it's over. It's a scientific facility, and the power that they have generated is not, you can't just take it out of the quantum lab and scale it. Like it's not there yet.
It's like fusion. Fusion sounds great, and we're capable of achieving, like some kind of net energy gain, but it's nothing applicable, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So guys, I have to leave in 5 minutes, but Gio Hussar, I wanted to ask you 2 final questions. The first of which is, in your opinion, what histories of the world should people take some time to understand to best understand where we currently are in the world today?
Great question. Such a great question.
Oh, man. I think because of what's going on politically, I really think we should be covering 1930s history, not because the Great Depression, because we're nowhere near that, but like 1930s, this political shift. I really think that's where we should be going. like where we should be looking to make references. But when you want to talk about the condition of the economy, I would push us to
Especially on that, I'm looking at as like, we've seen over the past number of years, like some moving away from democracy towards more like autocracy. We see that in Europe. We've seen that more consolidation of power amongst democracies.
1930s.
1930s, good time for that.
History. But when it comes to, let's say, military conflicts and the economy, I would go to the late 1970s, because in the late 1970s, America looked extremely weak. We lost Vietnam.
Yeah.
That already was like that was such a devastating blow, because we were supposed to be this invincible juggernaut, but we failed in Vietnam. The Soviets were emboldened. They invaded Afghanistan, and then
Iran.
we lost. Yeah, then we lost Iran. Just like that, I made a post. Yeah, we lost Iran. We were completely at the behest of the Middle East with oil. We looked so weak, and there was so much more instability, and America's power was put into question. And it just looked like this was it. Like we were reaching, like
end of the empire.
Yeah. And then what happens? I mean, I don't think Ronald Reagan is the reason why we did so great. I think he just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But I think it just shows like how adaptable America is.
Yeah.
How resilient America is. So I think I would go over those two histories, just if you want to know what's going on, like immediately with America's place in the world.
And do you have any particular resources that you would point people to do it?
Oh man, I mean, I look at a lot of stats and charts. So tradingview.com, if you want to look at like prices of oil and US GDP and defense spending and everything. But like, I'm trying to think. The world.
Listen to every Dan Carlin podcast episode of Hardcore History. That's where I direct people to.
Yeah.
Okay, Hardcore
because like
History.
seriously, I go over as many articles as I can. It does, like online, and man, I'm trying to think of books that I've read covering like what was going on in the late 1970s. But I don't.
You know what? You can follow if you think about this and mull it over.
One book.
Okay.
Book I want to. The Road to Serfdom by George Wilfred von Hayek. He was an economist who was.
You're gonna need to give me that author.
Just Hayek, Hayek.
Y-E-K. Okay.
We'll put it in the Discord.
Yeah, The Road to Serfdom.
Yeah, quite a conservative economist, and he was like the antithesis to Keynes. Keynes was like the guy, like, oh, hey, we have to central plan everything. Hayek was like the antithesis to him. And even though I don't fully agree with Hayek, his perspective in The Road to Serfdom, I think, was spot on. And he was like speaking against totalitarianism. He was like, don't follow the path of Nazi Germany. Don't. So that was, yeah, I could recommend that book.
Okay.
Cool. And then you had one more question.
Yeah, the final question was, what period of history would you live in if you had a time machine? And it has to be before the time of the car, so we have to have horses.
Dang, what a question, bro.
Wow.
Because I have my answer. I've thought about this my entire life.
Okay, well, you go first while we take time to think about it, because I got to answer this too. And I kind of want to hear what Alex is going to say also. This is a good final question. If you let me give a commercial to say, if you're enjoying the show, we're here Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. This is about that time we give our final thoughts. Take your final questions, your good jokes, your words of wisdoms, your suggestions. And I would love to know if you could live at any time period of history, what that period would be. Let us know in the comments.
You go first.
Yeah, for me, it's. I've thought about this a lot. I think you're like, oh, but Egypt would have been cool, or like, oh, like Persia would have been sweet, and all that other kind of stuff. And then I go, wait, everyone would have been so stinky. Give me feudal Japan, because they actually took showers. I was like, give me and a high quality standard of living. Give me that. I'll take feudal Japan.
Okay, feudal Japan. What about you, Hussar?
I would have liked to be in the Age of Enlightenment in Europe, just because we were transitioning, from the church to like science coming in, and there was just so many revolutions happening. Like, I don't mean like political revolutions, but just revolutions in thought. But so like, I would like to be wealthy at this time, of course, and I would love to just have gone to like Rome and Berlin and London and all of these cities just to see what was going on, but then also be able to go to the countryside where I could still like enjoy the pastoral life, and then come back to the city when I felt like, I needed to like if I felt like I was on full battery recharge, in the pastoral life, then I would come back to like the cities and start exploring and looking around. Just, you know, because I think that would have been such a beautiful transitional time. That's what I would have liked.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
I like that.
Alex, do you have an answer for this one? Are you with us?
With us.
Yes, I'm listening. I apologize. I just had to get on the road. You know, if I was to try to think of a single time period, that would be challenging because I always just think I want to go north of the Arctic Circle and never see anybody ever again.
That would be you.
And in that sense, time is irrelevant. It could be tomorrow. It could be 100 years ago, 500 years ago. I don't care. I don't know. I mean, I know you put some parameters on it. I'm a big fan of what cars looked like in the 60s, and also 60s is my favorite decade of music. So I know that this doesn't fit your
Well, that is an
parameters for
incorrect answer.
time travel
That is an
constraints.
incorrect answer.
Well, it's not incorrect. It's just not what you wanted.
Sassy.
I am a little sassy today, but I don't know. I think I kind of agree with you, Will. If I had to play by your rules, I have been just obsessed with the cuisine and the culture and everything in Japan over its entire lifespan. That's just beyond fascinating, and I've never been there, and I've always wanted to. So I would probably come with you, if I'm being
Hell
honest.
There'll be a couple gaijin in
There'll be a
Cuba,
couple
Japan.
guys.
I just want to highlight Glenn's question, saying this is only on the show Ask a White Dude. I definitely would probably not want to play this game if I couldn't be born as a man, unless.
Yes, for women, it's today. It's like, oh, right.
Yeah, it's not that fun to think about. Honestly,
Not that
truly,
fun.
I acknowledge it, and I will say Glenn is tearing it up in the comments. So thank you for that. I would actually go back to a time post the invention of fire and pre the invention of debt. So sometime when the world was still oriented around sharing economies, where people who lived together took care of each other, shared what they had, and saw each other as allies, not adversaries. And when you met another tribe, contrary to what is often espoused in the post-debt world, you did not go to war with them, but you celebrated that there was more life in the world. You gave each other food, you gave each other gifts, you married each other's cousins and friends and daughters, and marveled at the miracle of life. That is probably the time that I would go back to. I bet the food tasted really good after you'd been hungry for a week. So good question, Will.
That was a very Evan answer.
Yeah, it was a very Evan answer. Hussar, before we get out of here, tell us where people can find you if you have any last minute asks for our audience.
Oh yeah,
invitations, that kind of thing.
That's really nice. Yeah, just I'm trying to grow on YouTube.
Okay.
Like I have like 378,000 followers on TikTok, which is nice, but I'm trying to just branch out to other platforms. So more than anything, just hop onto my YouTube, because I'm going to be making more long form content, and I've been interviewing experts in their relative fields. So like I've been interviewing military guys, economists, and finance people. And these interviews are about an hour long. So if you want to take a look and get some really good insight on just a whole bunch of stuff, take a look at those.
Awesome. Thank you. What is the YouTube handle?
Oh, Geo Hussar. It's all the same.
Lovely. Nice and easy. Well, dude, thanks so much for hopping on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice to start like building a relationship with you, because I love your
Absolutely.
stuff. So man, keep it up.
Love your stuff too. Evan and Alex, you guys are okay. I think you're all right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Great to see you guys. I love your stuff too.
Yeah, it was
All
so
right.
good to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. Alex, did you come off mic? Did you have a final word you were going to say? Did I miss it?
Nope.
Nope. Out of time.
He's
Sorry,
in the
Alex.
Arctic.
Thank you so much.
He's in the Arctic.
We're going to be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Hop in the Discord server. It's totally free. We'd love to see you there. Do be on the lookout for scammers. And remember, we're still early. So take your time, my friends, and we will see you in the Discord and on the show again tomorrow. Everybody stay safe, be well. And of course, as always, my friends, rise up.
Bye-bye.